And actually, that other example right there, Ghost House Pictures, that director, Peter Alvarez, he's actually directing the new Evil Dead remake. So it doesn't have to necessarily be based off of that particular short. I mean, it could be a calling card to the next other project, which is what that director did at the time. So, in that respect.
So what I'm hearing is that you're using the film pilot as a way to get your vision out there, to help the buyers, the developer executives, and financiers visualize what you had in mind rather than just giving them a script and sort of have them sort of imagine it themselves. And also to get it in front of the audience so that you can get a sense of how receptive they would be to this property. Now, the flip side of this is that you might not get the kind of feedback that you want or the attention that you need, or worse, at least within the marketing realm, you might have a visual there that doesn't resonate with the person that you're presenting this to. So all of this said, was the intent to put that out there so that you could, A, prove all of those points, but B, was it to be able to gather that input so that you might be able to modify what you're doing?
Yeah, it's not fixed. I'm not saying this is the movie, there's no other movie. I look at it as a prototype. When you look at technology, when people create video games or products, you're not creating the first, this is the first thing you bring out to show people is how you take out to market. What we said with story R&D, research and development, we're not married to it, but we want to at least show you that this is something. And if you see something in it that you find attractive, then you can get behind it. And also, too, on the flip side, how many of you would read a screenplay, you don't know me, and I just hand it to you? I'm not a professional script writer. A lot of you think, I don't want to spend an hour and a half reading somebody's script. But at the same time, if I was at a party with an iPad, I said, hey, watch 3 minutes. So you do something that take less than it would take to drink a cup of coffee and have them experience this tiny piece of the story. And after that, if they actually engage by it, it's that much easier for them to read a screenplay because they have a better idea what the finished movie will look like.
But there's also another flip side to that reality too, where if you have a bad proof of concept, then it could backfire with your investors or who else you're trying to pitch to. So you just have to make sure that you have all the elements in place that are correct. Great director, great editing, great story that can be communicated in that amount of time. Just make sure that all those factors are in place and you have that great team, and then you have something solid to show for yourself.
Okay, so how would you go about doing something like this? We know what.
Now you guys are convinced. You're all going to make one, which will be awesome. But now we're going to talk about
why.
Why or how?
How.
Now we'll talk about how. All right. First off, I think since we're calling this a film pilot, not just a short film, we have to go. Where are people going to be when they're consuming this? We're not focusing on the film festival route as much. We're focusing on the web. So our goal is to understand that you're probably on Facebook or Twitter right now. You have a limited attention span, and that's shrinking every year. People, there's just so many new distractions. So within the first 10 seconds, you want to try to hook them. And if you don't hook them, they're basically looking on Facebook again, and they miss the rest of your short, all the production, all the money you spent on it. So make sure the structure, the development of the story, so it works that there's hooks left in it. And also, too, at the end, there's some kind of what the fuck moment. That what the fuck moment will wake up the audience and encourage them to share. Because you not only want them to watch the whole thing, you also want them to share it on Facebook so there could be a viral effect. So you want the hook, and then you want that ending, like what we had was that giant explosion. Whoa! I never seen something like that. We hit them with that, and then later on they go, all right, I'm going to share it on the Glee fan community site. That's crazy. Here you show them, and there's this explosion and this gunfight. So you want to make sure 10-second hook, the end, boom, they continue to share it.
And I mean, as a content creator, if you're into that producing side of things, it's always good to work with people that you actually respect their work, that they have something to show for themselves. Like, let's say, for example, a really talented director or writer. So I mean, it's easier said than done, but the directors that I myself and Peter like to work with.
You want to get a good, and here's one thing, you could get bigger actors than you think you can get. Right now with the web, a lot of actors are trying to do experimental roles. They're trying to do things that are out of the box. You'll see like huge actors on Fun or Die videos. These actors want to do roles that are challenging, that show another dimension. If it's a comedy actor, put them in a dark thriller. You flip it, and you'll be surprised. We had these actors working basically at the same budget as burritos, the burrito budget. Because we're all living off of burritos, Mexican food, thanks to Don. We had great food, but that's what we had. But these are actors that are on TV, like Sean Ashmore is on the new Kevin Bacon show. Like, these are serious actors, but they want to explore something different. They want to explore the sandbox. So I'm saying when you write roles for these actors, think about, maybe I got this comedian who's really good, he's on Comedy Central, but wouldn't it be cool if he was a cop, like a serious cop? And those are the ways you get bigger actors, because they're probably constantly telling their agent, last 5 years have been the silly guy. I kind of want to be this dark, demented serial killer. So I think you could get bigger actors, just figure out how to flip the roles for the actors.
And then you brought up another interesting point that when you create these film pilots, you're also thinking in advance about the marketing and the PR. Is there a particular strategy you utilize that you could share with this group that made yours so successful that it got picked up by Mashable?
To know the readers. Like, because the thing is, the readers have to be engaged. So for us, we talked about the idea that Mashable, our pitch to journalists was, there's an incubator right now, a huge story incubator, all right? It's not owned by anybody, it's called the internet. On the internet, Mark Wahlberg could suddenly have a movie game going, it started out as a video. A French filmmaker could have a movie going. There's no restrictions or borders. So I'm saying is, I mark it as a social media incubator. People love and they share it. This could be a great feature film, or in Don's case, a TV show with The Resistance. So all we're saying is that focus on what is that. So that's engaging, that's an incubator. Now for Wired, they wanted to have the premiere, the special premiere. So we said this is a special, this is watch an action film in only 3 minutes, because we know the readers love action films. So make sure it is a collaborative effort, of course, to the journalists, but make sure that it's not some really off-topic thing. You want to make sure if you're pitching Mashable, you're not saying, this is just about the script. No, do that to Filmmaker Magazine. Look at this like your publicist. We don't have the budget for a publicist, so be your own publicist. Idea, don't waste anybody's time. There are journalists, they get tons of pitches. Figure out, this doesn't excite me, why would they excite them?
Okay, so if you're saying tailor the message and
Yeah.
the content to the audience, then how do you take that approach when you're filming? That means you've got to be filming a lot of extra footage, right? And so that means you actually have to do your planning in advance. So that we say, okay, these are the target people that I need to go after from a PR and marketing standpoint. This is the kind of content that's going to appeal to them. So what was your strategy? When did you do that sort of planning? Was it at concept stage? Was it at production stage, pre-production? When?
It was pre-production, because I work with like really talented filmmakers here, and we all sat down. We sat down and said, what kind of assets would be necessary? We shot behind the scenes. We even shot a making how to use the camera. That's not no one outside of film geeks like us care about the camera, but some people do, and some press outlets do. So we sat down, before we even shot this short, we sat down, created a list, and said, all right, let's make sure there's a camera asset for Film Magazine. Let's make sure there's a Glee asset. Let's make sure, so we had all those. It doesn't cost you that much money. It just is thinking it through. Because once it's released, unless it organically gets a huge audience, you can't break through a bunch of noise. There's more noise every day. So our goal was basically create that list, and we sold the stories. The reason we sold the stories ahead of time is we want a coordinated release. We want to make sure all the articles would be released one after another, as tiers. Then the Twitter picks it up. If you try to sell the story after your short's released, it'll become passé. Journalists want things as soon as they're hot. So if you spend 2 weeks trying to get a hold of the Mashable journalists, you waste your time. You want to front load it. It's part of the pre-production, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's nice to also give press outlets exclusive content too, so you might want to give this picture to Mashable, and then maybe this behind-the-scenes video for someone else's premiere, Wired's premiere. So it's always nice to give them that sort of prestige.